Well, good evening. We start with some breaking news out of downtown Phoenix.
Sky 12 flew over the state capitol tonight, where for at least the third night in a row, we're seeing protests over immigration enforcement. This group has been demonstrating for the last few hours. They started at the state capitol earlier this evening before moving across downtown Phoenix before heading back to the capitol. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Kariba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. Let's get you right to the scene of the protest that's near the state capitol building. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra is live there. Gabby, you've been following this protest all night long, and it looks now like police have dispersed the protest.
Well, state troopers gave a final warning just about 20 minutes ago, telling everyone to leave the Arizona State Capitol or they would be arrested. And we saw hundreds of people running out of here. Take a look behind me. You can see it's nearly empty with the exception of some state troopers still blocking the roadway. We saw a line of state troopers in tactical gear just walk away for the night. But this is a group that started protesting peacefully at the Capitol this afternoon. But things turned unruly around 9 o'clock when hundreds of people stood in front of the state capitol, waving flags, shouting, and burning rubber with their cars right in front of the capitol here. Several fireworks were lit off, including one aimed toward a line of troopers in riot gear. They were protecting the House, Senate, and museum buildings. I also saw what appeared to be a bottle thrown at a drone, sending it to the ground. It's unconfirmed if that was a police drone, but we do know they've been flying drones over protests the last couple of days to monitor the crowds. And it was at that point troopers moved toward the crowd, announcing that it was an unlawful assembly. Most of the people ran out of here pretty quickly, running to their cars, running just down the street. Some people did linger, but eventually did leave the area. Now live back out here again, you can see that this is empty. We did see some state troopers monitoring, checking the parking lot to make sure that everyone truly did leave. But at this point, again, we've seen some maybe staffers leaving the state capitol, but other than that, just state troopers out here keeping the roads clear. Back to you, Mark and Kribe.
All right, Gabby, you've been out there all night. You sort of saw this protest go from peaceful to unruly. What about street closures in the area with Phoenix PD and the state troopers trying to keep that important area secured?
Well, like you mentioned at the beginning, these protesters marched pretty much around downtown Phoenix, and at one point they got pretty close to I-10. We saw a rush of DPS troopers along with Phoenix police work to block the I-10 on and off ramps. ADOT also announced that there was a closure for a short period of time. That was to keep those protesters from possibly moving toward the I-10. That did not happen, but it did cause some gridlock for a short period of time.
All right, Gabby, thanks. Let's continue our coverage now and take you to another protest that's happening right now on the west side. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono is at 43rd Avenue in McDowell. You can hear the street racers in the background. Bianca, what are you seeing out there?
Well, Mark Uribe, it is pretty chaotic in this intersection right now. I'm told by some people here that this started as a pretty peaceful protest against immigration policies, mass deportations, and ICE raids, but it has evolved into something completely different. Right now, cars are essentially driving recklessly through the intersection of 43rd Avenue and McDowell, occasionally stopping in the center of that intersection to do donuts and burnouts, oftentimes just inches away from people. They're also setting off lots of fireworks in this area and climbing some of the street lights. Actually, Nick, if you want to take a look over, you could see a gentleman there that's climbed up onto one of the light poles. As more fireworks we see are being thrown into the area, there are dozens of people on every corner of this intersection right now. We do see a lot of course, Mexican flags being draped around and flown outside of vehicles as they drive through the area. And if you're wondering about Phoenix police, we are told that they are, of course, very much aware of what's going on here. In fact, we do hear some emergency vehicles with lights on just north of where we're standing right now. We've also seen the Phoenix police helicopter flying overhead as another vehicle does a burnout here in the middle of the intersection. Again, take a look at just how close they are to people who are standing on the street corners. But again, Phoenix police aware of what's going on. They say that they do respect the rights of all community members to peacefully express their First Amendment rights. As we were driving into this area, we did see dozens of of Phoenix police vehicles staging just about a block of where we are. We've also seen drones flying overhead. We are assuming those are Phoenix police drones because, as Gabby reported earlier, we've noticed that they've been monitoring these protests over the past few days. So unclear exactly how long police are going to allow this to continue before they intervene. We will keep an eye on it and let you know once that happens, guys.
Bianca, we're both sitting here hoping that you're safe with the people doing the donuts in the street.
Yeah.
Please keep an eye on what's going on behind you, because that can't be a good situation.
Yeah, it's getting a little rowdy in that area. Okay, so now we're going to head over to the East Valley. There's another protest happening there in Mesa. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly is joining us live from that area. This is happening near Stapley Drive and Southern Avenue. And Chase, how are things looking there?
Well, Great Bay, Mark, I'll tell you, these protesters say they've been out here for the last couple hours. Right now, we're seeing a few dozen at this intersection here at Stapley and Southern. You can see them on all four corners of the intersection, all waving their Mexican flags. Cars driving by, honking the horns. We've seen several cars waving their own Mexican flags outside the window. You can see they're all out over here. It's been peaceful from what we've been able to see. We didn't see any cars stopping in the intersection like we've heard at other protests. These ralliers have been staying on the sidewalks and crossing the street when allowed, but you can hear that honking happening in the background right now. But just to give you a wider look at seeing everything going on with people with their signs. But as for as many protesters that are out here right now, we're also seeing a very heavy Mesa Police Department presence. As we were driving, we saw several cars. We saw some of them actually pull over cars that were speeding through the intersection, but so far no danger or anything like that. Like I said, everyone's really just sticking to the sidewalk. Say they'll be out here for a couple more hours. We'll be sure to keep you updated as we learn more. But for now, we're live in Mesa. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, Chase, thanks.